Karen, in your video you mentioned the one thing you'd like to do in the way of social justice is to stay informed. I completely agree with you. I think it's so important for us as counselors or prospective counselors to stay informed, not just politically. Obviously, you've gotten to this point in your video, but obviously in many different realms, such as staying on top of the most appropriate treatments. Granello and Young, our authors, mention that there are some in different age brackets that we may come to counsel who may see some sort of disconnect with us unless we stay abreast of current topics, or I believe the example they used was the effect of Facebook. If you're trying to counsel someone of a younger generation. And I think that staying informed is certainly something that kind of flows into my own golden rule of counseling and my own ideas of what I can do for social justice. Staying informed of what's being done in my own light of what's being done with these displaced children that I've indicated, might be within my own community for me to work with. You bring up an interesting idea then out of Leviticus. First off, I really want to commend you for going to a text that most, within the church at least, seem to avoid for its legal jargon. When you mention that, God has a plan for the least of these underdogs, my mind goes immediately to two different places. First, it makes me think of Matthew chapter 1 and verse 5, Matthew chapter 1 being the genealogy of Jesus. And in verse 5, we find Boaz listed. Salmon, who's the father of Boaz, whose mother, we're talking about Boaz's mother was Rahab. So you mentioned, out of Leviticus, God has the plan for the underdog, and I think of Matthew 1:5, and I read that, and then I think of Joshua chapter 2, where we're really introduced to Rahab, and we find that, Rahab is a Canaanite, and we find also that Rahab's a harlot. She's referred to as a harlot there in Joshua chapter 2 as to what she does and what type of person she is. And so I certainly think that, you can't really get much more underdog than that.